All right, we are live. We are still playing around with the with the technology here. So the good news is, again, we made it. We're live. This is welcome everybody. My name is Ryan. This is Just Endeavoring for Equality, and what we do weekly about all the examples of great great opportunities to look at the positive things happening in different perspectives of things. So this title was so the positive things happening in equality and endeavoring for equality amongst races, sexes, religions, using the law of increase, praising those things that have used these principles greatly. For the advancements of things, that we can apply these in our own lives, and using the law of non-resistance. And I'm just going to go ahead and get the lighting here happening here. So without further ado, there we go. Let me see if that works better. But we're still playing around with the lighting, still playing around with little things here. So hopefully that the quality of the video. You know, we're live. Let me just do something really quick. See if this improves it. We can do anything when we're live. So let's see if that helps it. We are live. So this is, again, we are talking today about Hooray for OJ, and obviously we're talking about the name OJ Simpson. And this is something where, again, using the law of non-resistance, we're talking about the things that in equality, you know, what you resist persist is one of the laws of one of the. And so what we'll be talking today is how OJ, in his way, whether he knew he was using these universal laws or not, was able to receive an acquitted verdict, excuse me. And so again, that was the law of increase and the law of non-resistance. And so let me actually, we have some technical things here coming. I am going to play for you a song that was here we go. Of course, everything is coming together. So we're live, and here is the intended song. So let's see if we can get this. So we're talking about this is the Hurricane by Bob Dylan, and this is a song about Reuben Hurricane Carter, who wasn't as get the volume right there. So he wasn't as lucky as OJ was, and there's many people in society who also haven't been as lucky, with much less evidence that would have potentially convicted other accused. And so again, we're exploring these things, and you know why this might matter to you is, look, even as we're living in our current society, we're seeing, you know, wrongfully charged, wrongfully accused, and then wrongfully convicted. You know, wrongful convictions, and you know, again, there was so much evidence about which could have sent OJ to prison for life, for, you know, longer, and so even 30 years ago, even with more evidence indicating that there would have warranted in many other trials a guilty verdict, OJ was acquitted. And so why this again might be important to you, why this matters to you. Look, I'm not advocating the violence associated with the crime. nor testing these laws of the universe, the law of increase and the law of non-resistance, nor even pretending to fathom what it might feel like to be in the minority. But instead, what is possible when we do not take on a minority consciousness? So when we're not, all of us are one. Whether our creed, color, race, religion, sex, all of us are one thought away from a victim mentality, a victim mindset. But again, when we take on what's possible, when we take on a confident, and again, this takes training. If it was easy, everybody would do it. If it was easy, OJ wouldn't be the only one with these circumstances. So again, what this YouTube channel is all about, and podcast, is leveraging that law of non-resistance. So prior to the trial, I do want to give a little history about, and again, actually, Bob Dylan, Reuben Hurricane Carter, and that book that became a movie. Actually, one of the first books that I really read that I didn't have to read. I voluntarily read this. It was the 16th Round by Reuben Hurricane Carter. It was an autobiography. It was talking about all the holes in the trial, in the investigation, even in the arrest. And so Bob Dylan actually found out about this story. So something that he never done. He was put in jail. He was put into a prison cell. And what he says in the lyric here is like, one time Reuben Carter could have been the champion of the world. He could have been the middleweight was his fighting division in boxing. And look, Paterson, New Jersey, very, very segregated community. And, Reuben might have had some run-ins with the law earlier in life, but he was later released from prison after his case was overturned for, again, a wrongful conviction. And again, I would say the purpose of this message is to those of you who are feeling like you're wrongfully convicted, or if you're like facing some charges, there is hope. There's stories like OJ's. There's also stories like Reuben Hurricane Carter. He did spend much more time in jail and in prison than he was than he deserved. In the end, he did win his freedom, and ultimately, again, going back to the OJ scenario, even prior to the trial, when OJ was when he was playing football, when he was first at USC, then he was at in Buffalo for a while. He was approached several times from the perspective of having more expectations on his involvement, on his association with the Black community, and he was quoted as saying something to the effect of, "Look, I'm not Black. I'm OJ. I'm OJ." So that was not just some cliche or convenient thing. I think he truly believed that he was not subject to that race, or he transcended race to some degree. Now, again, there's other people that have, you can probably say, look, whatever your opinion is on OJ, that's not the point here. But the interesting thing is how one of us can transcend race and can really just train their mind, discipline their mind. And that's one of the things that I actually applaud OJ's ability to do. And I invite my brothers and sisters of all races, creeds, religions, sexes, to look, take on a mindset that you are in the majority, that you are, again, you are powerful beyond measure. You're strong beyond belief. And there is this inner workings of you that you can bring out and really inspire others, inspire yourself, and you can help us change. I'm doing my best to help change this pattern that up until now has maybe been undesirable aspects about how our legal system works, how our law system works and how certain people might be subject to profiling and things of that nature. And so ultimately, again, back to OJ, is even throughout the trial, and especially since he's from what I've observed, taken on this not guilty mindset, and despite how much that might infuriate others in any community, being that, look, there's probably if anybody who is much more deserving of something like this, there's probably many cases. I will even say Reuben Hurricane Carter. He's been in a but we won't be over till he clear his name and give back the time he's done. So, but one time he could have been the champion of the world. I'm gonna go ahead and stop playing that now. But again, there's many cases that, hey, the anomaly, the outlier that would have been great. There's many other probably more deserving throughout our history in America and many other countries likely. Um, but even with that, I would invite you to take on a different perspective in your life, even with someone perhaps facing a life sentence or worse. OJ remained free in his mind. And I think somebody like Nelson Mandela is such a great example. Is like he became the president of the country that imprisoned him, and that's another reason why so many people are just so inspired by his story. Reuben Hurricane Carter, look, he might not have had the pre-equipped mindset training that OJ had going into the trial. But what he did have was he had a refusal. He's like, look, in the movie, again, Denzel Washington plays him great. And he says, look, I refuse to wear the clothes of a guilty man. He's like, I am not a guilty man. And so what he did, he was actually wearing, he wasn't wearing orange, the standard wardrobe. He was actually wearing medic medical clothes. So thankfully, him and the guards were able to develop a compromise. He's like, look, you can take a whole bunch of things from me. You can beat the crap out of me. Do whatever you're going to do, to try to make me conform. But I refuse. He's like, I'm not just trying to be, non-complacent or not, excuse me, non-compliant for no reason. It's like, look, you guys, because of a faulty judicial system, I am where I am for a reason. I'm here for a purpose. But I refuse to wear the clothes of a guilty man. Look, if I need to follow other rules, like this is one of those things that, that last shred of dignity that he had. He's like, I know I am not a guilty man. And so I applaud him. And I even, go back to the first episode of this is the Hamilton uprisings. It's like, rise up. It's like, who's going to rise up and who's going to rise up like Rosa Parks did of not getting up in that case. Her rise up moment was not getting up from her seat. And so, look, the beautiful thing here is, again, OJ was fortunate enough to, be in a little bit different of an area. I think, having been surrounded by, I think he went to USC, and then he was, playing football. He was surrounded by a whole bunch of, white collar, really rich in society types, media. And he found his way into some movies. He found his way into Hollywood, and even the sports broadcast booth. And so again, he definitely trained his mind, and he developed some different things about how he was going to remain innocent in his mind and not be convicted. And so again, for the Reuben Hurricane Carter example, for the many countless others across many different charges that have suffered jail and prison time, even with much less questionable evidence, far below that, beyond that reasonable doubt. The point is who OJ surrounded himself with and then visualized, likely through, what he started learning in football, of visualizing and putting himself in the picture of, what we look to do in life is, those people, many of the most successful people live a day twice. First, they live it in their mind, and then they live it in their in fact, in the land of fact. And so, you know, I from what I've observed, I've been studying this. I was growing up when this was happening. It was all across the media. It swept our media. And then, since there's been, ESPN 30 for 30s, there's been a whole bunch of other things. And it's just been a subject that's just, an outlier of, somebody who is in a certain group of people that have been profiled for this, that, or the other. And so for him to have much more evidence stacked against him and still beat the charges, that's something that, it's mindset. And then, again, if it's Nelson Mandela, who ended up becoming president of the same country who imprisoned him, there is on a daily basis, and even others who of us who aren't going through just a prison sentence or jail times, but each one of us, regardless race, color, creed, religion, sex, and many other factors, we're all going through tough times where we think we're seemingly up against the impossible. So, or situations or circumstances that at the level of fact, the level of current conditions, we feel that we cannot beat them. But this is where, again, this is another example of like, I'm not condoning the crime, nor am I saying my opinion or other people's perspectives on is OJ guilty or innocent. The important thing I want you and invite you to consider as I'm saying all of this is, look, the mindset that he walked into with that trial, with those things, he was able to win his keep his freedom. Now whether he rolled the dice a little bit later and started getting a little bit cocky down the road with some of the other legal troubles he would have later on. That's maybe where some of his mental thinking power and visualization power ran out. But again, as you're heading into these next 7 days until our next episode, I invite how you might visualize not being a victim, not letting, all of us are one thought away, whatever our circumstances, situations, and conditions are, we are all one thought away from being a situation, a victim of life happening to us, instead of saying, look, we are co-creators in this world. And so I think OJ created his freedom, just like Reuben Hurricane Carter created his overturning his appeal, his wrongful conviction, and he won his freedom. Again, I'm not so close to the Nelson Mandela facts on how he, overturned his ruling to not only free himself, but to also have him become the leader of the nation. This is what I invite you to do. Your situation that you might be facing, that you have the choice to be a victim. You have the choice of taking on a minority mindset of, oh, you know what, this isn't good for me because I'm this color, I'm this sex, I'm this religion. This is where, look, the power of thoughts become things. So I invite you these 7 days to say, how are you going to co-create these next 7 days in your life so that you are living the life that you love, and you are seeing any obstacles as stepping stones and qualifiers to the life that you would absolutely love living. And until next time, this has been Ryan Harris, for Just Endeavoring for Equality, aka J.E.F.E. And we come to you live every 1, 2, 3, 4 p.m. Pacific Sundays, so 12:34 p.m. Pacific. And we will see you next week, everybody. Thanks for watching.